Thanks for taking the ride with us right here on the Outdoor Drive. This is episode 223 with your host, East Coast Trev, and my good buddy, Mr. Madman Mardik.
What up?
What up, buddy?
Just grinding.
I know, dude. The season's almost over. It's kind of crazy, and it was like a snap of the fingers, and it just was like here, gone, and like if I could, I would like take the genie in the bottle, rub it a couple times, and say, "I'll take back September 1st." I think is what I would do.
By September 1st.
Just to bring it back to season.
Start it back over.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it wouldn't be a horrible thing. I mean, even though we look forward to shed season and seeing who made it through the season, so on and so forth.
Turkey season?
There's always turkey season. Turkey season is
Yeah.
always on the mind, my friends. I mean,
Yeah, I still like grinding the end of the season, though. And the main reason is, dude, it's going to be over real soon. And when it's over, you got to wait all year for it to come back.
I know.
So get it while you can, because in a couple weeks, you're going to be wishing you could go.
I mean, you figure so it's like 15 days for us, 16 days for us, and it's done and over with, bro.
Right?
Less than 2 weeks. Like, it's done and over with. No more season. It's crazy, though. It feels like it was just yesterday. You know, we had some of the greatest hunts that we've ever had. I mean, it's just, as far as putting ourselves in the right position and seeing bucks and, missing bucks and whatever the case may be as far as me. But, like, it is what it is, bro. It's just on to another season, and it just keeps, those episodes of just telling the story full-fledged just keeps on coming, bro. I mean, it's I always said it after, like, the 10th or 11th, even maybe the 15th of November, I was like, if my season ended today, I could say that I had a complete season because, like, you can't ask for better than what we had. You know what I'm saying? Like, the opportunities had arisen. We seen deer. You know what I'm saying? Like, for you, like, you saw your shooter buck. You just didn't get a shot at your shooter buck. You know what I'm saying?
Of them, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
like, myself seen a ton of shooter deer and shot at a shooter deer and missed a shooter. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just a lot to come in, and, like, all the guys on the team, like, they all worked real hard and they got in, on good bucks. Some of them like shooting 2.5-year-olds, but that's their own opinion. But it's just the way that it goes. I mean, it's just
Yeah. Dude, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, dude, I'm still on deer. Like,
yeah.
just about every set, it's just the wrong deer.
Agreed.
And even like last Saturday, man, like I saw a bunch of does, and then about an hour later, I had, sweet encounter. I had a doe and a skippy at like 40 yards, and then all of a sudden they just hop, skip, and a jump. They're at 25, and here comes a spike buck right behind them, and the doe kind of circled back to like stay away from the spike buck, and the little skippy stood there like stiff-legged, like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
What's
And
next?
the buck circled there, started sniffing her, sniffed her ass, and then picked his head up, looked back for the doe, and he turned around and chased the doe right back out the way they came. I mean, dude, right there, top pin range, 25 yards, and I'm great encounter, cool, awesome to see. Had the camera rolling, great footage, and then I'm like, why can't a shooter do that? Like, why is it got to be a spike buck? Like, I'm in the right tree for the action. I'm just not getting the deer that I want to do to cooperate. That's where it gets frustrating. But I mean, I can't say I didn't get blanked at all this year, but I pretty much saw deer every sit this year. I'm in it. Just can't get them to do
what you want
do
them
that
to do.
dirty.
Yeah, and I feel the same. I feel as if, putting myself in the position to be on deer every single hunt, like the things that you want, man. Like, I feel as if that's a success, right? You're on those deer. It's just making the right deer do what you want it to do. Like, it's fun, like it's that aspect of it. And it feels like, as the season progressively came along, like I sat there in the tree stand and I was like, 10 years ago, I don't think that I had as much action, right? And it's like growing as a sportsman and an outdoorsman, like, all right, I'm on the deer. I'm in the right place. You know, the right deer just needs to come by. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I feel as if not even 5 years ago, bro, like when I would sit in a set. And I mean, you have those years, right, where like it just happens where like you're sitting in the tree and you're like, oh man, I haven't seen a deer in like 4 sits, dude. This sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
you have those years that happens, but like, it's just luck of the draw, It's just luck of the draw.
I think the other thing, the big change too, is like as years go on, your expectations for yourself or your goals for yourself change, right? So 5 years ago, I probably would have smoked half of the deer that I passed this year, right? And now you're punching tags and you're stacking them up and you're building yourself a nice season. And then just where I am personally now, like I'm waiting for like a 1%, a 1%er, right? That's a needle in a haystack.
Especially if you're going to commit, we hunt.
Right. And if you're going to commit to that, like I have, you are setting yourself up for failure. Like if all you want to do is shoot a buck, you can probably get it done year in and year out. But when you really set your standards to like that top tier buck, there's a 99% chance that you're going to fail. And you have to be okay with that going into the season. You know what I mean? You have to tell yourself there is a chance this isn't going to happen. And are you okay with the season closing and you not getting it done? If you're not, you better start getting the string tight on something else. But you know what I mean?
I feel, and that's the thing, like, and, we talk about it a ton, right? Like, hunt your own hunt, I guess would be like my motto for it. Like, hunt your own hunt, man. Like, I'm not, this is just a revolving door in the conversation, right? Where, like, I feel as if, people could say, like, Trev, why would you say that? Like, you always say, like, just shoot what makes you happy. And it's true. Like, shoot what makes you happy, dude. Like, what might make you happy doesn't make me happy, and what makes me happy might not make you happy. Like, where the fact of, and I'll use this for an example, and I did this years ago, and then something occurred this year that made me happy, right? Like, I set out last year, there was a spike buck that was constantly on camera, and I was like, I'm going to shoot that deer. Like, that's a target deer for me for the season, right? Like, that spike buck. And I did that. Like, it's cool because it made me fucking happy, and that's what I wanted to do. This year, one of the things, and it wasn't a rack thing, but it was just something cool that happened to me, like, where I was like, dude, that's the most badass thing that I've ever done, and it made me just jacked up about it, and I was pumped about it, was... Like, I had that buck come in, and I shot him at 8 yards, bro, from 1 stick or 2 sticks. Like, that's cool to me. I don't care what the rack is, but, like, when I am soul searching for one deer, and that one deer, like, I'll pass 25 deer to be able to see to shoot that one deer. You know what I'm saying? Like,
maybe shoot that one deer.
Maybe, bro. And it's
maybe.
It's crazy because, like, when you get that opportunity, though, like, I had that opportunity, didn't conquer on that opportunity, and then to absolutely know that you're in the right spot when you go back the next day and that deer is in with 50 yards of your stand again. And you're like,
right.
fuck, I fucked up. Like, and he's on camera again. Like, I've had him on camera 3 times since then. Like, it's just like, you fucker. But you know what? He's just going to be that much bigger next year, and I know where he hangs out. So, like, it's cool.
For sure.
And you
like, found that spot pretty late. Like, that was kind of like scouting on the fly, found it, hunted it the next day.
So I found that. I found that. I found that spot Halloween.
Yeah.
So I found that spot.
I thought it was later than that, but okay, yeah.
No, I found that spot on Halloween. I hung that camera on the 31st. On October 31st, I hung that camera.
You missed him on the 1st?
I missed him on the 2nd.
Did you kill your biggest buck on the 2nd too?
Yeah, I did.
Me too. Me too.
I did shoot my biggest buck on November 2nd. Me too. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, because I all day sitted. So the day that I killed my buck and my Ohio buck, I all day sitted.
Set.
November 1st.
This is English 101.
Yeah. Well, that's normal with me anyway. November 1st, I all day sat, and then I moved around wanting to get in there on another buck for November 2nd. I sat there all day, dude. Last 15 minutes of light, I passed 9 deer. Well, not past 9 deer, just didn't have the opportunity at 9 different deer, and like they were all shooters, 120 to like 150. It's just crazy because
that Midwest life,
bro, and it's so different because like I had a hunt this year that I seen 7 different bucks. Not one of them was over
120.
was over 120.
CT life.
You know, it's like, but they all did it dirty. But they just weren't the deer that I wanted. And then because I had already shot at the buck I wanted for the season, and they just weren't it. They weren't it. They were not it. But it's fun, as you recap, and we're going to do a recap here for our Christmas Eve or our New Year's Eve podcast, and it's going to be me and Steve, and we're just going to kind of recap on what our goals were, how we accomplished our goals, how we didn't accomplish our goals, and then what the goals are for the next season. So we'll do,
we're going to do the whole year though, no?
Yeah, the whole year, yeah. Yep. So the recap on the whole entire season, as us on the podcast, the Outdoor Drive podcast, like just season recaps and stuff for the New Year's Eve. I think it would just be fun. It's something we always do, so it just kind of stay in it.
I'm not getting drunk this time.
No, I'm not either. But just kind of talk about the kind of things and what we have going forth, what we have and we're doing. We had a stellar year, in a whole. I think it was an accomplished year, But no, it's fun. I think, and it was cool to see the victory stories and stuff. And it's not over, man. Like, we still have the squirrel competition. We still have, show season. We still have a lot of things. We always are kind of just keeping the wheels turning. We're going to ATA. We'll be at ATA. It'll be Steve's first year in ATA this year. We're going to St. Louis. Looking forward to that. And kind of seeing everybody and meeting everybody and whatever, new faces
putting
or
on
whatever.
The square toe boots.
It's been a couple of years,
and
man.
The flannels, what?
Yeah, it's been a couple of years since I've been there, man. And I'll tell you, it's I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I think it's going to be a good time, and I think, especially maturing as a whole, as a podcast and so on and so forth, I think it's a better role to be able to go there. I mean, the last time I went there was pre-COVID, and was also, I think it was like circa 2018. So it's been some time, bro.
Where was that when you went Indy?
I went to Indy. It was with the East Coast. So it was me, shithead, derelict, shithead, and Garrett Benner. So it was some good times, man. We had a lot of fun, but whatever. It's all good. Let's break into the sponsors, guys. This podcast, we're doing a Tales from the Tailgate. You guys all wanted Tales from the Tailgate, so we did a Tale from the Tailgate. Kind of a special one, honestly. Justin joins us with a good buddy of his, and tells a great story. Probably it's the biggest buck that he's ever shot, and super looking forward to that. So let's break into it, dude. Let's sweep up the floor. We'll tell all about all of our sponsors and all the good things that you guys have missed out over the holiday season. So Huntworth Gear, huntworthgear.com. They are the official camouflage and title sponsor of the Outdoor Drive. Huntworthgear.com. Get yourself some heat boost. It's getting to that late season, that that coyote, that duck, that goose season, like that late season, that Matterhorn stuff, that heat boost. Now's the time to get that. It's definitely kind of crazy, and it's funny is guys always joke, "Oh, well, what batteries does heat boost take?" It doesn't take any. It's the carbon graphite yarn that holds in your heat from your body. Like, it's the stuff. I don't think I could hunt without it from now on, to be honest with you. And that's true. That's true talk here, and it's not because they're a sponsor. Like, they truly have some of the best gear on the market, like hands down when it comes to camouflage, and everything from light to the heaviest stuff, -20, -30 in the Matterhorn. So go and check those guys out. Huntworthgear.com. Nor'easter Game Calls, nor'eastergamecalls.com. They are the only calls that we use here at the Outdoor Drive, Mr. Marky Mark. We do have a surprise for you guys. Hopefully after the new year, we have a little bit coming forth, I promise. So, guys, listen up for that. That's actually going to be a game-changing thing that we're working on. And super excited to talk about that in the future. Latitudeoutdoors.com. If you guys haven't gotten into saddle hunting or want to get into the saddle hunting, get on over to latitudeoutdoors.com. Me and Steve both had the opportunity to hunt out of the Carbon SS sticks this year. Hands down, probably some of the best mobile hunting equipment there is, by far none. Like, they are light, packable, user-friendly, and they do the job, man. When you're trying to mobile hunt, and especially with us guys as filmers, like, there's always one of the things that I myself as a self filmer and a mobile hunter is I didn't feel as if I was cutting down on weight, right? I'm just bringing more things. So like I cut down on a climber, I added saddle hunting gear, but then I added camera gear, and I was at more weight, like carrying two climbers.
Or at least a net zero, right?
Yeah.
The pounds you save, you just add with a camera arm and camera.
So one of the things with their gear is it's super light, it's packable, and it's user friendly. As far as like the Method 2 with the magnets on it that clip up on your waist, so you're not worrying about one of the things with me, like my saddle's constantly falling. One of the things is it's like a weight belt. It's around your kidneys. It holds up well. You can walk with it in. It's not a big deal. The SS sticks, carbon sticks, they're super packable. They're light. Metaless. That's one of the biggest things with the saddle.
Huge.
And with the sticks. And then as far as the X-Wing and the platforms that they have, they're super light too. Like, they're just super packable. They're easy to put on. Like, it's a no-brainer. So get on over to latitudeoutdoors.com and check their stuff out. Great Christmas gifts also. Some good sales going on with all of them. And then last but not least, Bowhunters United, bowhuntersunited.com. Guys, we talk about it all the time. Get on over to their website. It's a free membership. And they help you out, like, with different state things going on and new laws being passed and so on and so forth. They're advocates for us as archery hunters. So make sure to hit them up and get on their website and sign up for them to stay on their newsletter. But they're all great people. And if you guys need gifts, now's the time to get on their websites and get their stuff, because there is always sales going on. You don't want to miss out, I promise. You guys have already missed out on a bunch of sales, so don't miss out on the ones coming forth. But Stevie, anything good in the world of the Outdoor Drive family Facebook page? Is there a Killer's Corner?
No
Killer's Corner. What is
nothing.
going on?
I got nothing.
Damn, guys.
It's a little depressing.
Killers aren't going to kill
I have a feeling
this week.
something special is going to happen here soon. Late December, something's going to go down.
It really is. Well, man,
But
what do you think, dude? Let's get on. Let's go have a Tales from the
see
Tailgate.
Jake.
Let's go, bro.
Yeah.
Here we go again. Oh, shit. Outdoor Drive Podcast, so we're going to bring you Tales from the Tailgate. All right, guys, welcome back yet for another Tales from the Tailgate. Dude, it's been a while since we've done a Tales from the Tailgate, huh, Stevie?
Too long.
Yeah, I guess we need to get these things going on. And the season's been crazy, but whatever. Let's just break up into it, man. We got Jacob Crowley and Justin Barnes. What's going on, guys?
What's up, fellas? How are we?
Oh, we're good, dude. The season's rolling down, and it's time for deer killing stories, dude. Let's break right into it. Jake, you killed an absolute slammer in Massachusetts, man. Like, take us through the day and kind of what happened, and tell us a little bit about yourself, bro.
All right, so I can get right into the day of it, but it's like I'd like to back up like a little bit before. This is a new property that I've never really hunted. I have no tie to this at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out in May, set a camera, just a rope scrape, just typical setup. So I go out there and there's bucks all summer on this camera. It's just the whole summer I have bucks hitting this thing the entire time. We start excuse me. We start getting into like later into the summer, and there is coyotes. Coyotes take over. It is just, I don't know, Justin. How many times did I tell you I was like Coyote City, Coyote City?
And Jake hates coyotes.
So 5, 6 coyotes like out of whack. It is just like I'm at the point where I want to take the camera out of the woods. Like, I don't even want to hunt here anymore. So
Do you see
we
that
get
a
later on.
lot though? Do you see that a lot with coyotes hitting scrapes and stuff like that? Because I know I see a ton of it where they'll get in those scrapes, roll around, and kind of try to get that scent of those whitetails.
Yeah, they'll come in and like sniff it. I've had them like piss in it a couple times, but nothing like they're not really. It's mainly like them going after the deer is what I'm saying. It's like I actually had on that same camera a coyote come by with a fawn in its mouth,
Oh,
and then
geez.
like 2 seconds later, like the doe is like pissed, like stomping, like going after the coyote, running away, like whole scene. I'm like this place is wild.
Wow, dude, that's crazy.
So that's going on all summer, but it stops like right before hunting season. Like the coyotes kind of like dim down a little bit. So like I said, like I get bucks daylight in like September, October, and decent bucks. But the first time that I got a picture of this specific deer was November 8th, and it was one video, like 9 o'clock at night. Didn't really think anything of it. I was just like nice buck. It's like not you know, not patterning it. It's just it's there. It's on the camera. I send it to the boys, and well, like that's nice deer. So I am now on vacation from work. I take off November 13th through the 17th, and that Saturday, which is the 11th, I'm like I'm gonna go in and set a stand, and I'm gonna hunt it Saturday morning, Saturday evening, and I'll be back Monday morning. Go in, find the spot that I want to be in, and get up the tree, hang my stand. Are you guys familiar with like Third Hand Archery, the,
No,
the the company?
no.
So they make bow holders that go on the stand. I've used them for years. Great product. Got a good guy too. But it's got like a arm that sticks out from the seat. And as I was setting the stand, it hooked onto my release, like my bino harness. I have a hinge release like in my bino harness. Launched the thing out of my bino harness. So I set the stand, come back down. I'm looking for it. Dude, I can't find my release. I am at the base of my tree for 45 minutes looking for my release.
Oh no, that's a nightmare.
So I leave. I leave the woods. I call Justin. I'm like, dude, I don't understand what's wrong with me. I'm like, nothing ever goes my way. It's like my release is gone. I don't have the backup with me. So I now have to go home, shoot with a new backup, make sure that everything kind of like hits the same. It's like sometimes it changes your impact. So and end of my I don't go hunting Saturday. New release works fine. Impact's the same. Can't hunt Sundays, so I'll be back in the tree Monday morning. This Monday morning. That's November 13th. That's our good day
Oh,
here.
Jesus.
So
I got a question though before we get on that scrape. Did you take over a scrape or did you make your own mock scrape?
I made it. So
Okay.
so there was nothing there. I can get into detail as far as like what the landscape is if you're looking for that.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well, man. It'll lay the
Yeah,
story out
or
pretty
at least,
well.
One
yeah, or at
keynote
least like, what you were looking for and like why you chose that location.
before he gets into it. One keynote though, he did about 6 of these, and every single one was on fire all year, all year. All the other people in our group, well, what are you using? What are you using right now? Rope this, blah blah, this and that. Nothing. Jake he had the crystal ball this year.
Yeah,
Every single camera was just lights out.
yeah, scrapes were good for me this year.
So what what
So
what made them
okay.
good for you as far as the lay of the land, or what do you think that made them successful?
They always say, if you're making a mock scrape, that location is key for success. It's like it really doesn't matter what you put on a branch or a rope, as long as you have it in a spot where deer are frequenting, then it's gonna, it should work. It should take over. So this spot, I have a high ridge on my left side and a smaller like nipple, I guess you call it a smaller ridge on my right, and it's a drainage ditch. So all your thermals are pulling down into the drainage ditch, and then there's a cattail swamp at the bottom of it. So it's kind of just like a triangle of scent. It's like I hung a rope and I ended up spraying it down with some scent, and immediately it got taken over. So I never went back in and like freshened it up or anything. They hit it
Natural.
every day.
So they naturally were hitting it.
Right.
Oh, they were hitting it like daylight, hunting time. It's ready to go. Daylight, crazy, insane.
That's awesome. Is it so? Do you think it was because it was close to bedding, in between beddings?
So that's where it gets. It's like I really don't know. This is a unknown property. It's my first year in here. I don't have any other cameras in there. It was just this. So it was whatever I found for sign that the place was tore up. But I was assuming that they were bedding in the cattail swamp, and I'm thinking that that's exactly what they were doing.
They were, yeah. That's awesome. So what led into it, man, and what made it all come down?
I can get right into
Yeah.
the morning hunt if that's what we
Yeah,
want
let's
to get
do
at.
it.
So I go in an hour before dark, and it's probably 3/4 of a mile walk in. So not too far, but it's a good walk. So I go in an hour before dark, get up into my stand. It's 19 degrees out. It's the coldest morning that we've had all year. It's like perfect. It's like that's exactly what you want in the middle of the rut. Um, I'm sitting in my stand, sun starts to come out. You do like the typicals. I'm taking pictures of like the sunrise, so I'm not really thinking anything is going to come out. Um, First buck comes barrel assing through the cattail swamp at 7 a.m. And I'm using the nor'easter grunt calls. I know you guys
Yep.
are very familiar with them. They sound great, right? So it's like I am wailing on this thing straight into the cattails. It's like this buck is not listening, not doing anything. He is just on a mission, trying to find whatever doe was on that trail, right? It's like you're just seeing like cattails bending over. So nothing happens with that. It's like I'm texting the boys. I'm like, hey, I'm like this really ain't. It's buck went by. This call didn't really work. I'm not really sure what else is going to happen. But I know that from the previous few days and the amount of bucks that I had on camera, there was a reason why they were there. So I'm like, I'm gonna sit here. I'm just gonna keep sitting until I either get tired of sitting or something happens. Around 9 a.m., I'm on my phone and I hear a deep grunt coming from like up on top of the ridge. Just like instantly put your phone away. I look up on the ridge and it's the buck that I end up shooting. He is stiff legged walking up the side of the ridge. And I'm just like, oh my God, that deer is huge. So they always tell you, right? Do not blow your call like directly at the deer.
Mm-hmm.
That goes out the window, dude. I am like directly at him. Brad, like you don't even think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they say you're supposed to do it as they like look the other way or have their head down or whatever the case may be, but we don't think about that when it comes to
yeah, you see him, you stop blowing on the thing directly at him,
yeah.
So grunt at him, he stops, he keeps walking, grunt at him again, doesn't do anything. Now I'm like, I don't even know how to snow wheeze, dude. I'm trying to snow wheeze. I'm spitting all over myself. Like it is just doing anything I can to get this deer to come in. He ended up going up and over that tall ridge. He's probably 100 yards away at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's it. I'm like, he just went up over the ridge. Like he's done. He didn't want anything to do with me. It hunt's over. And he ended up looping around the backside of the ridge, and I saw him 80 yards away, straight downwind. He's sniffing the ground. I don't know. There must have been some doe sign over there or something. So I ended up throwing a bleed out, and immediately he picks his head up, looks my direction, turns, and just straight line right into me. I'm like, this is it. So seat gets folded up, right? I take my gloves off. I pull my face mask down. I'm ready to go. He's closing in. He gets 17 yards away, and he's directly facing me. Looks right at me. I'm already at full draw. I'm like, I'm there. It's like I'm at full draw. He's looking at me like this. It was like, I'm either putting it directly on a frontal shot or I'm going to wait and see what happens. As I'm thinking this in my mind, he takes a few steps to my left and gives me what I thought was a quartering toward shot like not steep, but enough where I was like, I know this is quartering towards. My hinge breaks, I shoot, you hear the thump, complete pass through, deer bounds off 10 yards, stops and looks around. So I'm like, he's gonna fall over. Like, this is it. Watching the deer, he's looking, tail starts flicking, just starts walking. I'm like, all right, watching him. He makes it about 60, 70 yards, beds down in the blowdown. I'm like, this is it. Perfect. He's bedded down. I'm like, I just shot my biggest deer.
Mm-hmm.
So first person I call is my father. Right, my father's working. I'm like, Dad, I just shot a good one. I just shot a giant. And he's all excited. He's I'm leaving work. I'm coming. I'm on my way. I call Justin. I call my buddy Joe. Everybody's all excited, right?
Joey.
I'm on the phone with them. The deer gets up. I'm not speaking loud. I'm quiet when I'm talking. Deer gets up and starts walking away. I'm like, all right. I'm like, once this deer is out of sight, I'm backing out. Like, I'm not going after this trail. Like, I know all too well that you push this deer. Like, this isn't the kind of deer that you're gonna end up finding if you keep bumping them. So I back out. Justin, Joe, my father, your dad was there.
Mm-hmm.
They all ended up meeting me at the truck, and we gave that deer 4 hours, 5 hours,
No, more.
5 hours. I'd say 5. We gave the deer 5 hours. Brandon, you guys know Brandon Ashford.
Yeah. Yep.
Brandon ends up showing up to help me out. So we give the deer 5 hours. We all end up going back in, and I tell everybody, I'm like, look, I don't want to approach this blood trail with a bunch of people. It's like we have a good amount of guys here to help, but I don't want it to be all of us at the same pace. I'm like, you guys hang back here. I took Justin with me. Like, we're gonna go slow. We're gonna see what we have for blood. Blood was decent.
Blood was great.
It was definitely, like, you could tell it was liver. It was like that dark red color, but it was quite a bit. There was
no
a lot
shortage of it whatsoever.
We get to the spot where the deer was standing for a few minutes. Just puddles there, but there was what we thought was a little bit of gut. So I ended up calling Brandon over. I'm like, Brandon, what do you think here? He's like, it does look a little gutty, but it didn't really smell.
No,
there wasn't much smell.
Didn't smell either.
Well, we're gonna go slow. It's like, I'm gonna have Justin go out in front. I end up knocking an arrow, and we're just gonna take this as slow and quiet as possible. If we end up kicking it up, maybe I can get another shot at it. If it's not dead, I don't even know. We're following consistent good blood the entire time. Get 200 yards from where we shot, and mind you, I should have said this. He's going up a ridge, which you always hear that's never a good thing, right? So he's diagonally going up this ridge, and we get 200 yards away from where I shot. We hear a deer get up and run away. Like, I don't know if that was another deer. I don't know if it was the deer that I shot. We're following the blood. It leads us directly to where that noise came from. That pit in your stomach that you get is like, you unless you've experienced that, you don't know how to explain what that feels like.
But right before that, we thought it was over. So like 50 yards before that was 6 beds, 5 yards in between each bed. He would get up, he would walk, he would drop. He'd get up, he'd walk, he'd drop. He did like a snake, and there was bed. I'm like, he's gonna be toppled over on the edge of the hill. Literally, we got to probably the 6th bed, and then you just saw the tail. Well, like, and like he said, you're not sure. Do we jump a new deer? Is that the deer? What's going on? And we just said, halt it all. You know what? Let's just turn around. It is what it is. If it's him, he's bumped. He's gonna lay right back down. Let's get out of here.
Right. So we all back out immediately. This is what, 2:00 now. Mm-hmm. So probably 2 p.m. We end up going back to the truck and head home. It's like, I don't know how else to explain my ride home. It's like no radio. It is silent. I'm like, man, this sucks. It's like I just shot the biggest deer I've ever seen in the woods, and I'm driving home empty-handed. And So I'm beside myself. Like I don't really know what I'm gonna do. It's like, when do I go back out? We were talking about possibly waiting until the following morning, and that was never going to be an option with me, knowing that this spot is how it is with the coyotes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we all decided on 6 hours. I had another good buddy of mine. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Steven Champa. Good kid.
Yeah, we know Steve. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm talking with him, and he's like, "Your arrow looks good. You bumped him. Give him 6 hours, and he's going to be dead."
So 6 more or 1 more on it?
6 more. No, 6 more.
So now
Yeah.
you're at 11 hours.
Right. So I shot this deer at 9 a.m. and we went in after 5 hours, and now we're gonna give him 6 more. My confidence level is like down. I'm like, I'm not finding this deer. It's like, and if I do, it's gonna be tore apart by all the coyotes that are there.
I was on the opposite spectrum too. This thing is toast, dude. He's so toast.
Yeah.
Like he's getting the snippers
Yeah.
of holes. Let's go get him.
It's just and the thing is obviously at that point like you feel as if you're never going to recover this deer because you're the one that's emotionally attached to this deer. You shot this deer, so on and so forth. But in hindsight, looking back, obviously there was good blood of some sort, whether good, bad, or indifferent, right? Like there was good blood there. So like it was definitely going to be found. It's just a waiting game at that point, right? So now you're giving it 6 hours, and then obviously you guys went back in, and what was the result?
So we went back in. It's now 8:30, somewhere around there, and we ended up coming to the same spot where we knew we jumped him. And that initial like up from the bed, bounding off a few times to find that blood was kind of hard. It's like he's going from a bedded position to full on sprint. So we ended up taking this formation of like a horizontal line. We all went in a horizontal line, and we worked very slowly forward until we would find the next piece of blood. One person would say that blood, and then the rest of the line would go forward until you found another piece of blood. And it ended up working out really well. We ended up finding where he stopped after his initial bound, and it was more blood than anything else we'd seen leading up to that point.
How far was it from where he jumped to where he actually stopped and stood again?
60 yards, maybe 70. Yeah, not very far, but we couldn't see him because of like the thick underbrush in that area when we backed out. So now that the blood is picked up and it's as good as it's ever been, we're following it, and he immediately starts bedding down again. So it's like bed, blood, and he ended up slamming like into a tree, scuffed up like all kinds of leaves, like it's like bare ground, like there's blood all over like this tree. And at this point, like I actually start to feel good. I'm like, okay, I'm like this thing's hurt, right? So we're coming down the ridge, and my buddy Joe shines his flashlight, and he goes, "Dude, he's dead right there." I'm like, that emotional dump is like you just can't beat it. It's like there's he just ended up videoing me running down to go grab it. It's like, I'm a ghost, dude. I'm not even there. It's like I just make a beeline right to the deer. I'm so excited. No, man, it was.
I've only seen Jake run fast twice in my life, right? So it was 3 years ago. We shed hunting. He found a great 4-point side sprinting. And so I'm like, why does he run? Look what I got. That, and then when we found his buck, the kid was going down a slope at about a 45-degree angle with high knee and just he slid into home base.
You gotta. If that stuff doesn't excite you, man, you're not doing it for the right reason.
Exactly.
So what was the result in the shot? Like, what do you think? What happened to be able to make it the way that it was, and so on and so forth? So was it quartering 2, and it was just a little further back than what it should have been, or?
So that's where I was going to get. It's like initially I thought that it was a quartering towards, like very slight quartering towards shot. It really wasn't. It was pretty much broadside. I would say I hit about 4 inches further back than I would have liked to. And in the gutting process, it's like we found out that I hit left lung, liver, and exited out just nicking the gut. I missed the right lung.
So that's virtually So you missed
So
the. It's facing so completely broadside facing. It's kind of to you, so you hit that left lung,
Mhm.
the liver, and the gut, that whole pocket, and then almost coming out right before the left rear.
Not even. It's like
Really?
I'll have to show you. I know
Yeah.
the audience can't see the pictures, but if you look at this shot and somebody told you this deer made it 400 yards, you'd say
Mm.
absolutely. Yeah, it's just one of those
so
things.
if you were to put the deer dead broadside, right? Entry was probably 3 inches off of exit if you want to put a line through it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? If you're going to pick it, like not much
Yeah.
whatsoever. Just started a little back from that front shoulder and a little kicked. So it
Yeah.
just caught the back. It wasn't far off. It was weird.
It doesn't take much.
No,
Yeah,
it
exactly.
it
I,
really
I,
doesn't.
I had that happen one time, perfect broadside, and all that when I bleeded to stop the deer, all he did was kind of like turn his shoulder a little bit. And I mean, I absolutely pinwheeled this deer like right in the crease, and I only got one lung.
Yep.
And he's dead broadside, and it's just one of those things, man. It's just like there's so many variables.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So like people shoot deer and be like, oh, like I was mid body, so immediately I'm like, God. They're like, oh no, that's lung, dude. You're talking inch by inch is going through each organ. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
At that point, there's no mid body. It's like that much is changing from your liver to your lung to gut. It's a whole different ball game. It's a game of inches at that point.
Yeah, I'm not even sure either if like the adrenaline from like rutting, like that
Oh,
might have an impact as far
Absolutely.
as how long a deer can live off of that kind of hit.
that's a huge factor in that. I mean, like they're virtually they're not running on energy, they're running on adrenaline. Like they have nothing else left in them. Like that's virtually they're living on hopes and dreams as far as like adrenaline that time of year. Like you see deer, especially in that time of year where like in those the teens of November, that like they do some of the craziest things when you're tracking them. Like you're like, how the frig did that deer make it 700 yards? If you were to shoot that thing early season, it probably would have went 150, right? Like it's just they just have that drive, that will to live so much more that time of year because they're just so pumped up, you know?
Mm.
Absolutely.
You know what's crazy to think about too is that little bit of angle actually helped you, right? Because a deer can 100% survive a one lung,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not going to survive a liver and they're not going to survive a gut. So
So
you
true.
think like, oh, I got liver and gut, that's bad. Like that 100% helped in the process because that
Mhm.
one longer he could have lived.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But catching that other stuff right there is what did him in.
So Jacob, dude, now I want to hear like what was the expression and how did it all go down? Like when you grabbed a hold of this buck for the first time, bro.
So I'm a deer hunter, right? Like I kill deer year in and year out, but never something like this. No, like this is 8 years in the making of finally getting my hands on a mature buck. I've never done this. To have the hard work being put in that I've done this entire like off season, to have it come full circle and actually have that kind of success, it was everything. It's like it was just a complete emotional dump. I lost it. I was like, I wasn't even there. People would talk to me. It's like I was a ghost. It's like just not in the picture.
Then it wasn't short of luck. It was he skipped shed hunting and a whole bunch of other things that the boys were out doing X, Y, and Z. He's like, I got to go check out new properties. I got to move. I got to do something different this year, and
So
That's
so
what
all
I
hard work. That's
was
all
going
fall back on hard work.
to ask next. What is there something in particular you did different this year that paid off more that you may have been missing in the past?
I did a lot of postseason scouting, and once the snow was gone, February, March, I went through properties and found rut sign. Um, that was it. It was just miles and new properties.
New is what it
Yeah, it
was.
was like I left where I was because it wasn't working.
so I guess to piggyback on that, like what was that triggering moment for you that like that's what you wanted to do was that postseason scouting and then hone in on a mature deer and to, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was that turning point for you? Like, to want to be able to only chase mature deer instead of just
it's failure driven. It's
right.
like I put in effort every year, and at the end of the season, I'm like, man, I shot a doe. You know, it's like
150 hours plus. Like
it's like
not just the Saturday guy. It's big time hours in the woods.
it's like I'm putting everything I have into this hobby. I want to be more successful. What can I do to change that?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going to the archery range and doing like my typical indoor shooting or going and doing a 3D shoot, it's like I'm gonna skip this and I'm gonna go put time in the woods scouting, and that's where it came from.
And that's it's kind of funny. And one of the things, well, me and Steve had talked about it before in the past. Like, I do a ton of postseason scouting, but it's on areas you can't hunt. So like, what good is that, right? Like, it's like, as far as like we go shed hunting, and then it's always like a numbers game, right? Like we're just like, how many sheds can we find? You know what I'm saying? And then once you start to then put it into a spot that you're going to spend a lot of time, come rut time or whatever, it's then going to put yourself in the position to then shoot a mature deer. Like you know what I'm saying? So like you're putting in that hard time. Like anybody can go hunting, right? And then put themselves on a deer trail. You're going to see deer and you're going to kill deer. But what are you going to do that postseason to put yourself in a big buck scenario? You know what I'm saying? And that's what it seems like you did to make yourself successful, was put in that time and effort to put yourself where those big deer are going to be.
Right.
Which is super cool. And it's cool to hear that the whole scrape thing worked out for you, because that doesn't always work out for everybody. Like you put it
It first hand right here. Me, Joey, my dad, everybody were like, ghost town, dude.
yeah.
Ghost town. Jake's like, look at this.
I'm
like, dude, what's going on, man?
I'm sending them videos, right? I got like bucks. They're like hanging on the rope. It's like doing a helicopter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's crazy because a lot of people don't understand like the purpose of a scrape and different times a year of how they use different scrapes, right? Like there's traveling scrapes, then there's communal scrapes that they hit all year round, and then like guys that, you know, like might get in the woods just the weekends, like we were talking weekend guys, like they'll get into the woods and they see a scrape and they think that that's like they live and die by that scrape, and that is not the scrape to be hunting. The scrapes that you have that are community scrapes where every single buck goes to it every single day in daylight, does go to it, that's the scrapes that you live and die on. Those are the ones you put yourself on that cross and you live on those scrapes to be successful all year round, where other guys will see scrapes and sign and it might be a week old and a deer may never come to those scrapes. You know what I'm saying? So like you had the X, you know, like that is the spot to be. And obviously those deer were in there and they were doing the right thing, man, and put yourself in that position to be successful.
No doubt.
Which is so something else that I wanted to touch on is like I ended up skipping this in the celebration part, right?
Mm-hmm.
We ended up finding this deer. It meant the world to me to have all my brothers there. You know, it's like I have my father there. To have everybody there celebrating with me, you can't beat that. It's like these guys that you're talking to day in and day out about hunting, and for it to finally come through and it's like everybody gets to celebrate together. That's not just my deer. You know, everybody here had a part in this.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. It was awesome. Even dragging out, like there was like a snow flurry. Like nothing could go wrong. A little snow flurry. Everyone's jacked up. November 13th or whatever. Everyone's ready to get in the woods again. It was just smiles and.
So I had Brandon ended up not hunting that afternoon just to come back and help me find that deer. He's like, I was here this morning. I'm invested. Like that. How does that not hit you? You know, it's like people are going out of their way to help you make sure that you get your deer. And that's what it's about. I wish everybody could have a group of friends that would do that for them, because it's special.
So that's one of the things, like growing up and stuff, having those groups, that camaraderie and all that stuff, and a lot of people, and we, you know, we do it all the time where like you spent like our whole lives hunting with our fathers, just like you guys did. You guys hunted with your father, Justin and Jacob. Me, Steve, we all hunted with our fathers. And it was a camaraderie thing. Everybody gets together, everybody goes out hunting, but a lot of people, they lose sight. And one of the things is like you hunting mature bucks, you like myself, we lose sight of that. Like we're like 150 hours in the tree stand day in and day out. We don't hunt with our buddies, we don't hunt with our friends, but when it does come down, like we look forth to having everybody there to enjoy that hunt because it is a one-man sport when you're hunting a mature buck, but like when it comes down, like everybody better be there, you know, because like it's time, it's go time. We're all going to be together. We're going to enjoy this together, and then the beers just start flowing, and that's just the way that it goes, man. It's like
I probably wouldn't even be as interested as I am in the sport. It's when the kill shot comes and you get everybody to come down. You can't beat it.
no.
There's nothing else. You can't explain it. You got to go through the process and do it to feel it.
Absolutely. Dude, Jacob, show us your rack, man. I want to see this whole thing. I know, guys. We'll put this up on social media so everybody can kind of see what it looks like. But oh my God, look at that thing! Look at the brows on that thing.
The brow.
How wide is he? He's pretty wide.
Yeah, so it ended up coming out to, what was it, 19 3/4?
Wow.
I was gonna guess 20. Yeah.
Inside spread.
Yeah. Good mass too.
Yeah, his mass ended up carrying pretty much the whole way through.
What a beautiful 8-pointer.
Yeah, it's so tough because he explains the shot and you can look at it like an infrared trail cam video and you can be like, oh yeah, deer's great, like definitely good buck. You know what I mean? But you put those headlamps and all those big lights on that actual deer and he picked it up. I'm like,
yeah, he ended up dressing 186 pounds.
Wow.
So definitely my biggest deer by a long shot.
That's mid-November as well. You know what I mean?
That's a 8, dude. That's a beautiful 8. I love the brow on that thing, dude. Imagine the both of them. Did he originally have the first one on November?
No. So that was one. It's like I had one video of that deer, and he was the same as when I shot him. So.
Dang. So he must have lost it earlier on in the travels.
Yeah.
So he was a satellite deer at that point, right?
Probably.
Yeah. It's like I wanted to consider it an 8-point, but we were told that if the tine is wider than it is tall, then it don't count. So it's big 7.
Really?
Big 7.
What does that mean as far as wider? I've never heard that.
As far as scoring, if it's wider than it is tall, then it doesn't count as a point.
Oh, see, I've always been told if you can hang a wedding ring on it, then it would count as a point or whatever. Steve, I see the weird look on your
I'm trying to process that. I've never heard that either, and I've heard the wedding ring thing too. I've heard it had to be an inch. I really don't know what the.
It's such a
So
Steve Champa does. He's like an actual NEBBC scorer, so that we're like it's an 8, you know.
Yeah.
Like he's like it's a 7. I'm like, all right, it's a 7.
Well, see, the greatest thing is that there's.
It's an 8-pointer with a busted brow time. So he scored 7 scorable, but he's an 8-point frame. Yeah.
It ended up coming out at 127 inches.
Wow. So okay. So it's Pope and Young with a missing tine. That's an accomplishment. That's an accomplishment.
It's a Pope and Young deer as a 7-point, which is pretty nice.
A Pope and Young 7-pointer. It doesn't get any better than that, dude. Like that's truly, honestly awesome. Are you gonna register him at Pope? You think, or?
I'll end up doing the Northeast big buck. I think I have to wait a certain amount of time before they can get like an official score.
60-day drying period. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll end up getting that done, but I don't know how far I'll actually go with it.
It's always good to when you get your first Pope and Young to just get the certificate, bro, and just put it under the belt. I got my first Pope and Young. If you never register another one, as long as you live, so be it. But you got yours. Your name's in the Pope and Young book. It's done. It's over with. They measure them. When they measure them. You can have them measure it. It's just another set of paperwork. And just have it done and over with. Because it's always nice to have that certificate, your Pope and Young. I mean, that's what we as mature hunters, that's what you kind of shoot for, is to shoot a Pope and Young buck. I mean, like that's 125. I mean, that's the threshold, right? So that's incredible.
One time.
So
now
awesome.
tomorrow he's gonna break out the latitude sticks, the latitude Method 2. He's got all the 7mm ropes. He's ready to rock. He's gonna go get set up tomorrow and let it rip.
You're headed back in tomorrow. Is it still bow season in Massachusetts?
Yeah,
it's
all throughout.
Yeah, it's gun season. I don't pick up the guns to hunt. It's you can't beat the feeling of throwing an arrow at a deer.
Until you shoot him with a gun. No.
No.
I haven't done it yet. So I can't say no to that yet.
I don't know, man. We had Justin up in turkey camp, and he shot a turkey with the TSS, and it was a whole different ball game.
Done. Don't bow this yet. All gun, dude.
No,
it would have been a completely different story if that's the case. Like when you first saw that buck in your story, and you reach for the grunt call as he's going up the ridge, you wouldn't have been reaching for the grunt call. You would have just grabbed the shotgun, and it would have been over right there.
Yeah,
that's what makes it beautiful.
No,
but it's more of a, I don't know. There's something about drawing back on a deer and looking up through your peep sight, getting your pin on it and everything. It's like I've killed a couple of deer with a gun, and for me, it's not the same. It's like I chase that high of doing it with the bow, so that's kind of what I stick with.
No, I'd have to agree with you there. Like we're all four of us are diehard bow hunters, right? But like, and we live and die by the bow. But like, there's something about, we talk about camaraderie, like doing deer drives with the boys on a Saturday morning, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and you get out there and you start doing a drive with the shotguns. All right, the camaraderie, the nostalgia part of it, amazing, right? But I'm not into going and hunting with a shotgun. It's not a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Or late season muzzleloader in the snow. Like it's just it's that kind of thing. But for the most part, the bow hunting's where it's at. To put that deer in less than 25 yards to take a shot at it, dude, like, I mean, your deer was 17 yards. Like, that's incredible. Like, to be able to see that thing. I mean, you can see that thing breathe. It's so cold out. You know what I'm saying? And that takes a lot. It takes a lot to put them in that close. It really does, to put yourself in the right predicament. So,
absolutely.
Well, guys, we appreciate you jumping on with us, man. Congratulations on just an absolute amazing buck, a great story, the camaraderie, everything else, man. Congratulations, and hopefully you knock down another one tomorrow, bro.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's the goal, right? It's like I got another buck tag to fill. Hopefully we can get it done.
Absolutely. And for everybody else, thanks for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.